Front page of The Guardian this morning with a great picture of movie director Regina King, one of three females been nominated for the Best Director category in the Golden Globes. Delighted to say, to look through those, give us his thoughts on that, and just let us know about some great movie watching for us over the upcoming weekend. Delighted to say, Stratford-upon-Avon movie critic James Luxford is back with us again this morning. Morning, James.
Good morning.
Thanks for joining us this morning on BBC CWR. First of all, your thoughts on those Golden Globe nominations, and particularly the three women in the Best Director category.
Yes, it's more than any previous award ceremony. Three women being, as you said, Regina King for One Night in Miami, Chloe Zhao for Nomadland, and Emerald Fennell for Promising Young Woman. And it really represents how these unusual circumstances have allowed different types of filmmakers and different types of movies to bleed through. There really isn't that many big budget movies represented because, frankly, there haven't really been that many big budget movies out in the last year. We've only got Tenet with one nomination for score, and despite being one of the most streamed media all across Christmas, Pixar's Soul only has two for Best Animated and Best Score. So it's really representative of these different times we're living in.
Okay. Elsewhere, in terms of the nominations, the Golden Globes, Aaron Sorkin's Trial of the Chicago 7, picking up a load of nominations, and David Fincher for Mank, also in those categories.
Yes, David Fincher's Mank is a real sort of labour of love. It's nice to see, written by his late father Jack, who is nominated for a screenwriting award. Now, of course, Jack died in 2003 before this was ever realised, and David Fincher saw it through with Netflix to kind of create this passion project, his father's passion project. It'd be really nice for me to see Jack Fincher win the screenwriting award, although Aaron Sorkin is of course a brilliant writer and more than worthy for the Trial of the Chicago 7. Another big winner is Nomadland with 4 nominations, and for me, one of the big hitters going into the ceremony, one of the favourites for the big categories. Chloe Zhao's film about a woman played by Frances McDormand, who becomes a nomad in the aftermath of the 2008 recession.
Yeah, brilliant performance by her in that. Quick mention for some of the Britons nominated in this: Carey Mulligan for Promising Young Woman. We've touched upon Rosamund Pike in the satire I Care a Lot, and Vanessa Kirby for a role as a grieving mum in Pieces of a Woman.
Yes, and also Olivia Colman for the harrowing drama The Father, co-starring Anthony Hopkins, who's also nominated. A lot of strong dramas there. Vanessa Kirby, we talked about a few weeks ago, Pieces of a Woman, a very tough drama about losing a child. And just very strong categories this year for acting, because there's been so many really tough dramas that have come out in the absence of these big budget sort of spectaculars.
Okay, Golden Globes, which will be, of course, the first of the season of Hollywood ceremonies. 28th of February, the Golden Globes this year. And as I say, 3 female directors, bearing in mind that only 5 female directors have ever been nominated in the 77-year history of the Golden Globes. To have 3 in 1 year in one category does show a response, you would think, wouldn't you, by Hollywood to that Me Too movement. Let's move on to some of your recommendations, James, shall we, for our viewing pleasure this weekend. And first of all, you're going with the next Netflix choice.
Yes, from Friday, it's Netflix's drama Malcolm and Marie, starring Zendaya and John David Washington as a couple whose relationship is at breaking point after getting back from a film premiere.
Mystery. The unknown. It's what supports the tension of a relationship.
You're angry.
No. The what if factor.
Marie.
What if there's someone who loved them better?
In terms of starring roles in this. Two really, really powerful performances again.
Two very powerful performances for my money, two of the biggest younger actors in the game at the moment, and they are. I always ask myself if two actors can overcome a not so great script. For me, the script is not fantastic in this. It's a little bit forced, a little bit stagey, but for me, Zendaya and John David Washington put so much into their performances. This was filmed over lockdown, just two actors in in sort of a plush mansion in Hollywood, just filming toward each other. Obviously, they isolated and took all the precautions beforehand. But it's just a very intense drama. Two great performances. If you are a fan of these in kind of very emotional relationship dramas, this is for you.
Good stuff. Malcolm and Marie, available on Netflix from Friday. Next up, two household names in your next pick.
Yes, Owen Wilson is back in Bliss on Amazon Prime from Friday. He plays a man who is told he is living in a simulation by a mysterious stranger, played by Salma Hayek.
Welcome home.
This place is overwhelming.
Dr. Isabel Clemens pioneered brain box simulations, ugly, simulated worlds to generate appreciation for the real world.
Why am I not remembering any of this?
Don't worry about it.
There I go.
Most people say ignorance is bliss. But I say you have to experience the good to appreciate the bad.
No, the other way around.
I do love Salma Hayek, but Owen Wilson, he's become sort of typecast, hasn't he, in the sort of comedic roles over the last sort of 10 years or so of his acting career. This is a bit different for him.
It is different, certainly different from the sofa adverts we've seen him in recently in the last few years. I liked it. It's a bit quirky, looks at how we live our lives day to day and what it means to be happy in your life. Salma Hayek is great, and it's interesting to see Owen Wilson in a dramatic role, as we said. It sort of tempers that kind of amiable, sort of affable persona he has in those comedies and translates it to something a bit darker, a bit more gritty. And a very interesting movie to start your weekend with.
It's available on Amazon Prime from Friday, and you've picked up something for us well, it's a classic, isn't it? This ITV4 Friday night.
It really is. It's Jaws, Friday, 9 p.m. on ITV4. Steven Spielberg's classic about a small coastal town terrorized by a shark.
What we are dealing with here is a perfect engine. An eating machine. A great white shark. A stake to claim in the waters off Amity Island.
You yell barracuda. Everybody says, huh? What? You yell shark. We've got a panic on our hands on the 4th of July.
This shark, swallow you whole.
Oh, I tell you, I just have to hear that, and I can image it already, and that score as well, James, is just so iconic.
Yes, ironically, Steven Spielberg thought it was a temporary track put in and didn't like it to begin with, but John Williams convinced him to go with it. Just one of my all-time favorites. The acting is incredible, the tension, that classic soundtrack, as you say. They say it invented the summer blockbuster, and it's easy to see why. Over 4 decades on, it's just magic. And ironically enough, sort of on social media and things last year, the speech you heard there about, if someone yells barracuda by the mayor of Amity, the town in the movie, has been compared to certain handlings of the coronavirus epidemic, and people drawing parallels with the way the shark is dealt with by the town and the way the outbreak is dealt, but in some quarters. So it's an interesting fact that it still has this influence so many years on.
James. Appreciate it, as ever, so much. Thank you, James Luxford, movie critic from Stratford upon Avon, with his picks for the weekend and also thoughts on the Golden Globe nominations. The Golden Globes, as I say, happen on February the 28th.
Box sets like nowhere else with BBC iPlayer.